Thank you.
Yeah, Abhinaya, we can start, ma. Abhinaya?
Ma'am, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you are.
Okay, ma'am. So a warm welcome to everyone and happy evening. So I'm Abhinaya from MHRM second year. So I would like to start this program with the quote. It always seems impossible until it's done. A word itself says, I am possible. So now I would like to call Devika from MHRM first year to give a welcome speech.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good evening to one and all present here. I, Devika HF First MA HRM, on behalf of the whole team of PG Department of Human Resource Management, would like to welcome you all to the national webinar on the 7 habits of highly effective people. I take great pleasure in welcoming our beloved teachers, management staff, and the enthusiastic audience. Lastly, and most importantly, I welcome our chief guest for the day, Priscilla Joseph, who would be enlightening us on the habits of effective people.
Thank you so much for that warm welcome, Devika.
Thank you.
On the outset, I'd like to thank Dr. Mahisha Suramadini, the HOD Department of HRM, and Dr. Nagamala, Assistant Professor, for enabling me to do the talk this evening. And I also welcome each one of you present here, and it's a joy and a privilege to be here. I'm Priscilla Joseph, as you would all know, and I'm basically a soft skill and language trainer and a life coach. I have traveled all over South India training students, and much of my interaction has been with youth, and I consider it a privilege to be in this college and to be able to facilitate the 7 habits of highly effective people. So welcome once again, and hope this entire evening session will be a productive one. And before we go on to the session itself, I'd like Abhinaya, my co-host, to play this video called The Planting of Seeds. Abhinaya, could you share the video, please?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want you all to listen to the lyrics and pick up the words while you hear the song. The volume is not clear.
I spent a long time running and never knew then what I know now. That the fruits, they always come in, but you can't go around just knocking them down. It takes a long time to show in. We plant the seeds then and we look at them now. But the roots are always growing, no matter if I'm there or never around. Whatever grows will grow. Whatever dies will die. Whatever works will work. Whatever flies will fly. Whatever fails will fail. What's meant to soar will soar. I am planting seeds. Nothing's like your whole life. You've been training for this moment, and when the time comes, you just disown it. Meaning you just surrender, don't control it. Not interested in the clay pots and mold it. Or sitting next to the path, trying to unfold it. Or waiting for the fruits to fall down toward you. Let it go, and now you're flowing, feeling quite gorgeous. So you take steps away instead of towards it. What a rush, feeling freedom with nothing to hold. You've been taught that what you touch will always turn to gold. And now we're learning when we let it go, it overflows with no credit to take. There's no credit, it's home. A higher power working deeper where the seeds are sown. And when the seeds are true, then the seeds are full. It's the real goal, the joy when life starts to flow. And when it does, you just smile, cause now you know. I spent a long time running, I never knew then what I know now. Let the fruits, they always come in, but you can't go around just knocking them down. It takes a long time to show in. We plant the seeds then, and we look at them now. But the roots are always growing, no matter if I'm there or never around. Whatever grows will grow. Whatever dies will die. Whatever works will work. Whatever flies will fly. Whatever fails will fail. What's meant to soar will soar. I am planting seeds. Whatever grows will grow. When it grows, it grows. Whatever dies will die. When it dies, it dies. Come on, works will work. If it works, it works. Flies will let it fly. Let it fly. Whatever fails will fail. What's meant to soar will soar. I am planting seeds. Whatever grows will grow. Whatever dies will die. Whatever works will work. When it works, it works. Fly, fly. Whatever fails will fail. What's meant to soar will soar. I am planting seeds. Nothing more.
Thank you so much, Abhinaya. I would like to put this before you. What were the words that stood out from this song? Or, what did you notice? What is the message of the song? Could you put it in chat, or you can, unmute your video and talk. Unmute your microphone and speak. Yes. Yes, you can put it on chat. Smile, happiness. Yes. Good evening, ma'am. Yes. Good evening. Anything else? What stood out? What stood out in the song? Smile. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Excellent. Seeds. Wonderful. Positivity. Yes. Happy. Excellent. Anything else stood out? Optimism, Kavya. Good evening. Yeah, we can do anything. Positivity. Wonderful. Yes. So the song represents a seed that is planted. Your presence here today is a seed. And sometimes it's a good field. Yeah. Yes, Hemavati, it's a good field. Faith, it talks about, Jaya Durga says it's faith. Yes, when we plant our seeds and do not expect the results immediately, whatever we do is planting of a seed. And we may not see the results, seeding love. Yes, we may not see the results immediately. And when we do it without expectation, enjoyment, with whatever we do, results will come, So on this note, I would love to go into the 7 habits of highly effective people. Can anyone tell me who wrote this book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? Anyone can put on the chat? Let's have an interactive session. Come on. Anyone can post on the chat who wrote this book on the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Yes, Stephen Brinda, you're right. Stephen Covey, yes, wonderful, brilliant. Okay, so this book was written in the year 1989 by Stephen Covey, and he was a keynote speaker, an entrepreneur, a writer, an author, a businessman, and he had many hats that he wore. Yes, Stephen Covey, it's coming on. You're right. Now, what he did was Stephen Covey wrote this as a self-help book. It's meant to do a self-help for each individual. And to write this book, he went back 50 years researching about all the books, the millions of self-help books that were written. You know, they all targeted, he noticed, the external, the personality traits, rather than the character traits. With the 50 years of research, he was able to say that a lot of information, input went on updation of skills, you know, enhancing your knowledge, enhancing your communication, enhancing your personality, the way you dress, the way you talk, all the skills which are very, very important. However, for lasting success, can you mute your phones, please? So for lasting success and lasting relationships, Stephen Covey came out with the 7 habits of highly effective people. Can somebody mute people, please? Yeah. So with that in mind, let us explore what Stephen Covey did. Abhinaya, can you share the PPTs, please? Yeah. So when we talk about 7 habits of highly effective people, can you put on chat, what does effective mean? Put it on chat. What does effective mean? What does effective mean? Powerful, okay. Anything else? Power, okay. Enhanced, lovely. Anything else? Resourceful, fantastic. Anything else? Insightful. Well done, well done. Let's look at the meaning of effective. The next slide, please. Effective means successful in producing a desired or intended result. So if we are to be people who produce the kind of results, we need to have certain habits. And that's what Stephen Covey is talking about. So let's go to the next slide. Now I'd like to put a question in here. What is a habit? Come on. You've been very good interactive, participants. What is a habit? It is a practice, Dave. Yes. Anything else? A routine. Well done. Yes. Something which we do regularly on a daily basis, day after day after day. Wonderful. Now let's go to the next slide. The action followed by us. This is what Aristotle said. The Greek philosopher, our regular thing we do. Yes, Koki. So he says, we are what we repeatedly do. Every day we do this. Therefore, excellence then is not an act, but a habit. How wonderful is that? I'm going to repeat. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. So to be excellent in what we do, we have to develop certain habits. Now, I've mentioned that as 29. Sorry, it's 21. What is 2190 principle? Anyone can talk about it? What is 2190? Any idea? Okay. 21 days, if you follow through or you make something practice for 21 days, it can be a good thing or a bad routine, whatever it is. Build a habit a day. Yeah. Commit to a goal for 21 days, says Abhirami. Very good, Abhirami. Yes, 21 days, and you constantly focus on it for 90 days, then it becomes a lifestyle. 21, 90. Okay, so we all are thinking of putting into practice any of the habits that I mentioned. You'll have to do it at least for 21 days into 90. Keep on going. Yes. Hajra. Yes, Parvi. Yeah. So let's go to the next slide. I mentioned earlier, he did a survey for 50 years, Stephen Covey, and found out a lot of importance was given to the personality, to the public image, brand, how do I present myself, social interaction, mental attitude, and skills and techniques, which are very, very important. I'm not downplaying the importance of all of these, but he came to the conclusion. Next slide. So character versus personality, foundation for success. So what are the characteristics a person has? What do we make into habits? Our humility, for example, courage, justice, patience, loyalty, leadership, influence, or influential. It's all about influence. We all have the ability to influence another person, right? So all these things, if we really concentrate on this and making these a habit, definitely we'll be effective. That's what Stephen Covey is trying to say. Next slide, please. So true success and lasting happiness, it starts from the inside out. All the books that have been written and all the seminars and motivational talks can be on the outside. But what is really needed for us to make an impact, make an influence, to be effective is the dealing with ourselves from within. We need to look at ourselves for who we are. Next slide, please. Yeah. Now we go to the first habit. Let's go to the next slide, Abhinaya, please. Yes, habit one. Habit one is, please note, you can take it down somewhere, because these wonderful habits are scientifically proven and time tested. And it is followed by many, many corporates and business houses. And they notice that once followed, it makes a real impact. So habit one is proactive. So if anyone can put on chat, what is proactive? What does proactive mean? Be bold. Okay. Anything else? Brinda says be bold. Anything else that you can think of? What does being proactive really mean? Extremely energized. Lovely. Yes. Okay. Being proactive means taking responsibility for one's life. And being more productive, yes. First of all, taking responsibility for all that happens to us. Not shifting the blame game. Oh, my parents, oh, my teachers, oh, my college, oh, hopeless this, hopeless that, this person that did that to me. We all have circumstances creating and controlling a situation. Yes. Okay, so all of us have things happen to us in our families, in our workplaces, in our communities that we don't like, that we have, that we can be complaining about. But being proactive takes charge. We take charge of our lives and say, I'm not the product of my circumstance or my situation. Although these things have happened to me, I will not be controlled by the things or the people that have happened to me, be it rejection, be it disappointments, be it problems and challenges. We don't blame it on others, but take responsibility and move on. Okay, to understand this, Stephen Covey talks about circle of concern and circle of control. Okay, when you look at the outer circle, you will see things that we are not really in control of. It can be other people's opinions. Somebody said that to me. Somebody told me I will be good for nothing. I'm bad. Or somebody, maligned my name. They called me a person that I'm really not. So other people's opinions, rejection, people would have rejected us. Others' mistakes can fall on us. The economy of the country, can I really control it? Politics, natural disasters, COVID happened, plagues, diseases, laws. These are all circle of concern. And what is the circle of control? What I can do. What can I basically do? It is my habits I can control, my hobbies, my goals, my attitude, my relationships, skills, knowledge, and so on. So what I can control becomes a circle of control, and what I cannot control, which is beyond me, which I don't have much effect over, is the circle of concern. So being proactive is basically trying to take, responsibility of our lives, whether it is good or bad, and moving forward. So to be proactive, how do I do it? The first thing to be proactive is to be self-aware. If I'm not the product of my circumstance or situation, then who am I? Who am I? Who are you? WHO asked this question. They say self-awareness is a life skill, knowing who you are. Who am I? What motivates me? What are my values? What is my passion in life? What are my weaknesses? What are my strengths? Why do I get depressed or angry so fast? Why are my emotions like this? Why do I get disappointed? Who is my role model? What is my passion? What do I want to become? These are things we have to ask ourselves. What is my purpose? What is my identity? And to look at this, I will go to the SWOT. Can I have the slide on SWOT, please? Yes, beautiful. Thank you, Abhinaya. So quick you are. This is a SWOT is an evaluation tool which has been used by corporates and businesses all over the world. It examines the current situation or position of a company or a corporate. However, this SWOT can be used for us personally. What does S stand for? Strength. Weakness, W, opportunities, and threats. Now, each of us can do this for ourselves. And when we do it, we will really find out to a great extent who we are and what we have in our control. So what are your strengths? Is it your communication? Is it your perseverance? Is it your ability to ability to interact with people? Is it your never give up attitude? Is it your fitness? Is it your attitude? What is it that can really help you move forward? And what are your weaknesses? Is it your anger? Is it your procrastination, time management? I'm not able to get along with people. What is it that pulls you down? And we have to work on these. And then you have the opportunities. This little seminar that has been arranged is an opportunity. We have so many opportunities in terms of relationships, in terms of the family that we have, in the college that we have, the education that we have. What are the opportunities that are given and how do we use them? If you can make a list of the opportunities that you have, that you've taken and that which you have just left without touching. If we can do that, we will move forward. And the last is threats, which I have no control over. It can be emergency. It can be something like a tsunami. It can be, as I said, the economy. It can be something like as real as peer pressure. So what are my threats? Understanding this is key to being self-aware. Quickly, the next slide, please. I have made the self-esteem web, which will really, really help us in examining ourselves. So the first is physical. I'm going to go a little fast. Physical. How do we accept ourselves physically? Are we okay with our physical bodies? Or are we ashamed because the media, people say you have to be this color, this tone, this size? Does our physical appearance bother us? Have we accepted how we look? 2, are our healthy eating habits okay? Sleep, exercise, and so on. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where will you rank yourself physically? Test it. Then we go to mentally. All of us have 7 multiple intelligence. All of us. But most of us use 2 or 3 maximum. For example, I'll just mention it. You can, Google and see multiple intelligence. Very interesting. So for the mental bit, updation, you have to find out what are you really good at. Is it linguistic, logical, spatial, musical, kinesthetics, movement, interpersonal? For example, I'm good at interpersonal and linguistic. So you can find out what you're good at and enhance it. But the beauty is we can use all the 7 multiple intelligence by enhancing our skills. Emotional part, very, very important. Many of us are broken. Many of us wear masks. Many of us get angry. Many of us are insecure. Many of us have not forgiven people. We are bitter. What is it that is controlling me? Finding out your emotions and working on them. Then we come to the social. Because of the emotions or because of things that have happened to us, we may have problems with our in-laws, with our parents, with our relatives. We don't know. I mean, I don't know. You know. So what is it that I have a problem with in my social life, in my family life? If you can put 1 to 10, rank yourself where you are, would be really helpful. And then we come to professional. As students, it's good not to have arrears, not to procrastinate, to maintain time management, to be, good with your attendance, with the kind of records or whatever it is, because the classroom tendencies will go on to the workplace. So how are you professionally? And as a lecturer or as a, as somebody who works in the marketplace, how are we in the professional field? Now, the spiritual is the center. Everyone has a God particle, and this helps us being grounded. So spiritual and financial. How do we deal with our finances? The Jews from Israel are supposed to be some of the richest people in the world. And one thing that they do is 1/3 they give to others, 1/3 they save, and 1/3 they spend. And this has really helped them in their moving up in terms of finances. So if you look at the physical, mental, emotional, social, familial, professional, spiritual, and financial, and know where you are, it will really, really help us in knowing ourselves. And then we come to a short video on how to be proactive.
All of the time. How do you do it? And Jerry replied, each morning I wake up and I say to myself, I have two choices today. I can choose to be in a good mood, or I can choose to be in a bad mood. I always choose to be in a good mood. Each time something bad happens, I can choose to be a victim, or I can choose to learn from it. I always choose to learn from it. Every time someone comes to me complaining, I can choose to accept their complaining, or I can point out the positive side of life. I always choose the positive side of life. But it's not always that easy, I protested. Yes, it is, Jerry said. Life is all about choices. When you cut away all the junk, every situation is a choice. You choose how you react to situations. You choose how people will affect your mood. You choose to be in a good mood or a bad mood. It's your choice how to live your life. Several years later, I heard that Jerry accidentally did something you are never supposed to do in the restaurant business in New York. He left the back door of his restaurant open one morning and was robbed by 3 armed men. While trying to open the safe, his hand, shaking from nervousness, slipped off the combination. The robbers panicked and shot him. Luckily, Jerry was found quickly and was rushed to the hospital. After 18 hours of surgery and weeks of intensive care, Jerry was released from the hospital with fragments of the bullets still in his body. I saw Jerry about 6 months after the accident. When I asked him how he was, he replied, "If I were any better, I would be twins. Want to see my scars?" I declined to see his wounds, but did ask him what had gone through his mind as the robbery took place. "The first thing that went through my mind was that I should have locked the back door," Jerry replied. "Then, after they shot me, as I lay on the floor, I remembered that I had 2 choices. I could choose to live or choose to die. I chose to live." "Weren't you scared?" I asked. Jerry continued, "The paramedics were great. They kept telling me I was going to be fine. But when they wheeled me into the emergency room and I saw the expressions on the faces of the doctors and nurses, I got really scared. In their eyes, I could read, "He is a dead man." I knew I needed to take action. "So what did you do?" I asked. "Well, there was a big nurse shouting questions at me," said Jerry. "She asked if I was allergic to anything." "Yes," I replied. The doctors and nurses stopped working as they waited for my reply. I took a deep breath and yelled, "Bullets!" Over their laughter, I told them I am choosing to live. Please operate on me, as if I am alive, not dead. Jerry lived thanks to the skill of his doctors, but also because of his amazing attitude. You see, in life, in your life, I learned from him that day that every day you have the choice to either enjoy your life or to hate it. The only thing that is truly yours, that no one can control or take from you, is your attitude. So if you can take care of that, everything else in life becomes much easier. This was a motivational story read by Dare to Do Motivation. I do not know the original author, so I can't give credit to it, but I take it as a real story.
Thank you, Abhinaya. We'll go back to the PPT. So I think this explains everything about being proactive. You know, the situation was not easy, but if we can take responsibility of it and say, I have a choice. I can either go sulking and complaining and brooding and being reactive, or I can give it my best and be proactive. That way, I help myself and I can help others. So this is habit 1 for you. We can go now to habit 2. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, habit 2 is begin with the end in mind. Okay. So here is where the vision, the mission, what do you want to be? What is your destination? What are your goals? What do you want out of life? What do you give back to people? How do you want people to remember you? Now that is called a legacy. What would you like to leave behind? It's amazing when you sit and think about it. What do I want to do with my life? Robin Sharma, you know, he's an author. He wrote this book, Who Will Cry When You Die? Not that I want to discourage you, but you know, in life, people are not going to say, oh, she was an excellent professor, or, you know, she has so many houses, or look at the beautiful car. What are they going to say about you when you come to the end of your life? It is how you made them feel, how you influenced them, how you interacted with them, how you made a difference in their lives. So let me go to the next slide, please. So it is good for each of us to have a personal mission statement. Will Smith said, he's a Hollywood actor, he said, I want the world to be better because I was here. So he says, because he was there, he wants the world to be a better place. So what is it that you and I want to leave behind? What will be our heritage? What will we leave behind to our family, to our society, to the community, in the workplace? What is the heritage we will leave behind? So whatever decisions we make in life, let's remember this particular thing. What do I want to be remembered as? It's the second habit, to have the end in mind, to think about what is towards the end of life. Not just the present, but think ahead. Okay, next slide. Have you would have heard about Alfred Nobel. Can anyone put in the chat, what did he invent? Alfred Nobel invented something. Can anyone tell me quickly? Can you post it on chat? What did Alfred Nobel invent? Dynamite. Sri Dakshini. Excellent. He invented the dynamite. Okay. So Alfred Nobel, I don't know if you know about his story, the Nobel Prize. Excellent, Bhavisha. So Alfred Nobel had a brother. Now, one day, unfortunately, the brother met with an accident and passed away. So there was an obituary in the newspaper, and the press mistakenly said, Alfred Nobel, the merchant of death who invented the dynamite, passes away. The merchant of death who invented the dynamite passes away. When Alfred Nobel saw this, he was shocked. He thought, oh my God, this is what people are going to remember me by. And he wanted to do something. He said, he consulted his friends and family and decided to leave a part of the money that he got by inventing the dynamite. He set it aside. He thought, what is the opposite of death? What is the opposite of killing somebody? And he thought it was peace. And therefore, the Nobel Peace Prize, it started as the Peace Prize, was found. So that's how the story goes. So what is your legacy? What do you want, you and I want to leave behind? Now, this is a small activity. We can just take 2 minutes to do this. I have some nouns here, verbs here, and values. Okay. For example, I choose empathy and enthusiasm because I can relate to it. In the verbs, that is action, I motivate and I lead. And values, I invest in relationships and teamwork. Okay, so this is my mission statement. Through my enthusiasm and empathy, I would like to inspire and lead people into good relationships and teamwork. So likewise, you can choose 2 nouns that you're good at, 2 verbs and 2 values. What is it that you can put together as a personal mission statement? You can look at it every day and see where you are going. Can I give you just 2 minutes for you to just write down 2 nouns that describes you? I don't know about you. You may be excellent in communications and patience, or creativity and sales ability. And you can teach and plan, for example, for profitability and building growth, maybe. So whatever it is, take 2 minutes and just identify the words that relate to you. Just 2 minutes, and then we can go to the next one. One more minute and then we can move on. And you know, I can even request if anyone has written it down, if they could read it. Very good. With my enthusiasm and communication, I can help and motivate teamwork and spread happiness. Wonderful. A clap to you. Anybody else? Anybody else who could just, put in chat? Well done, well done. Anybody else? Communication and creative, Bhavisha. Wonderful. Anything else? One more and then we can go. One more. Yeah. Creative and patience. Sincerity and trust. Well done. I'm happy. So we all could find out what we are really good at, and make a creative personal statement. Creative, lead, and profitability. Patience, creative, and trust. Fantastic. Okay, we'll go to the next habit. Humor and motivate. Ilakya. Lovely. Now we've come to the third habit, which is called first things first. Can anyone tell me on chat, what is first things first? First things first. Any idea? Priority. Excellent. Prioritizing, Kavya. Most important. Super. Whether we are at, at home, at college, in the office, in our relationships, whatever it is, understanding what is important and applying it in our lives is an excellent habit. I think nobody can deny this, right? So Stephen Covey places a lot of importance on first things first. So we'll go to the next slide. Next one, please. The slide, this is the video. Okay, we'll watch this. Watch it.
Good afternoon, everyone. We all have this one life to live. A fleeting shadow amongst all that exists in this vast universe. We have the ability to accomplish anything, truly anything, if we use our time wisely. Is this jar full? Yes. Is it full now? Yes. And how about now? Is the jar full now? Yes. 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 Now, I want you to recognize that this jar represents your life. Golf balls are the important things, your family, your friends, your health, and your passions. The pebbles are the other important things, your car, your job, your home. The sand is everything else, it's just a small stuff. Now, if you put the sand in the jar first, you won't have room for the pebbles or the golf balls. The same is true in life. If you spend all your energy and your time on the small stuff, you won't have time for all the really important things that matter to you. Pay attention to the things that are critical to your happiness. Take care of the golf balls first, the really important things. Set your priorities, because everything else it's just sand. Yes.
Professor, what does the beer represent?
I'm glad you asked. It goes to show that no matter how full your life may seem to be, there's always room for a couple of beers with your friend.
Okay. So the golf balls represent the most important things of life. Your family, your friends, your relationships, your plans, what you want to do, the legacy, and so on. That is what the golf balls represent. The pebbles, your job, your home, your finances, your material possessions, and so on. And the sand is the less important things in life that we so enjoy doing. So if we put the sand first, we won't have time, we won't have place for the golf balls, which are the most important things in life, and the pebbles, which are equally important. So how do we prioritize our time? Whether you're a pauper or a president, you get 24 into 7 days a week, 24 hours into 7, 168 magic hours. All of us get the same time. How do we utilize it? We can have a to-do list, we have daily planners, calendars, all of that can be there. But unless we set a pattern and we prioritize what is really, really important and schedule that, we cannot manage our time wisely. So next slide, please. Here, Stephen Covey came up with the time matrix. So this is called the time matrix, and there are 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. The first 2 are important and urgent or not urgent. The second is not important and not urgent. So the first one, the yellow quadrant, is urgent and important. So all life's crisis, challenges, somebody is sick, has to be rushed to the hospital, exams are around the corner, deadlines have to be met in office, all of that will come under quadrant 1, important and urgent. The second one, which is the pink one, is not urgent but important. Important but not urgent. What are these? Preparation, plans, goals, attitude, relationships, true recreation, and so on. So all this will be important but not urgent. Then we come to the third one, where we delegate. Not important but are urgent. The numerous meetings we may have, the phone calls that keep coming, many pressing matters, I have to do it now. Popular activities which may not produce much result. So all this I can delegate, which is urgent but not important. And the last one, which is the blue, is not urgent, not important. Busy, busy, busy. Have you accomplished anything? Not really. Social media, calls, non-stop WhatsApp, escape activities, time wasters. So if you can identify in the 24 hours of your time, except the sleeping hours in a day, if you take from the waking up to the going to sleep, how do you spend your time? What is most concentration on? Do you keep running from one crisis to another? Or are we spending so much time in the 4th quadrant? Now tell me, which is the quadrant that all of us spend most time with? Which is the quadrant that we spend most time in? Come on. Is it 1, 2, 3, or 4? 4, excellent. 2, Ilakya, are we really spending time in the second one? 4, yes. So all of us, including me, spend a lot of time in the 4th quadrant. But where should we be spending the maximum time? Please tell me where it should be. 2, excellent, Brinda. Yes, in the second one. Because all our relationships, goals, what are we doing, planning, preparation of our lives come in the not urgent but important. So if we set our priorities today on what is really important and start focusing on that, then, first things first will take place, right? So thank you. We'll go to the next habit. Yeah, here I have just shown you the 24 hours. If you can have a wheel, you have the 24 hours, you can identify where is the maximum. Usually with youngsters now, till 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock awake on social media. Where is it that we spend most of our time as time wasters? What are our priorities? If you can get this, you can take care of the third habit. Next slide. So as I said, when end of life comes, is it going to be your work or social status, material wealth, positions, possessions, title, entertainment? What is it really going to count? How did you use your life to enhance yourself and to enhance others? Make others' life better. What did you and I do to achieve that is the question we need to ask ourselves. Then we go to habit 4. Yeah. Habit 4 is win-win. Okay. So I have shown here 2 friends, and one is selling a car and one is buying it. Now suppose the one that is buying it pays more for it. Will he feel happy? No. And suppose the one who is selling it undercoats, he also will not be happy. So what is a win-win? A win-win situation is where both parties are happy, whether it's in the home, whether it is in the office, whether it is in the community, wherever we are, if we can make others win and mutual understanding, yes, where we can win and they can win. Okay, most people concentrate on win-lose. I have to win at any cost, cutthroat competition. I will be first. Whether we look at the needs of others, are we considerate, is the question. Some of us are, if I lose, you lose. You're not going to win. So it is lose and lose. Okay? Or it can be somebody saying, oh, but this is too much. Let them win all the time. I lose. One passive attitude. Never say no. What movie do you want to watch? Whatever you want to watch. There is no, no reality of one's own wants, or we just, we refuse to look at ourselves and always give in to others. So you lose and somebody wins. And the fourth one is win-win. So to win-win, what do we need? Next slide. So to win-win, we need an abundance mentality. What is an abundance mentality? When I first started training many years ago, there was this young girl, I didn't know, I was new into training and facilitating, and she was there for about a year and a half. So she knew more than me. So, so when I just sat with her and said, how do we go about it? She did not hesitate. She did not think, oh, if I share with her, she will do everything and I will have nothing to say or do. No, she was so generous. She gave me everything. She gave me videos, she gave me books, and she said, take, you go, because she knew one thing. She knew the end benefit was for the student or, whoever was at the other side. For such a young person, she was magnanimous. I'll never forget the lesson she taught me. She had an abundance mentality where there is enough for me and there's enough for you. We can both go. And my mentor always said, Ma, if you move from the self-preservation mode to service mode, you know, you will have great freedom. You won't worry about anything. You won't worry about the results. You will just go on planting the seeds. Unfortunately, he passed away in COVID and I miss him so much. You know, his lesson was abundance mentality. Are we here today? Can we share all that we have? Not only money, time, energy, teaching others, upskilling others. Are we willing to do that? And for that, you need abundance mentality. Second is you need integrity. You have to be honest and respectful towards others. So everyone wins. And the third is maturity. Maturity to have two C's, courage and consideration. Now, if I'm selling something, I need a certain margin. I need enough for myself and consideration for the other person. I can't overcharge them. So I need courage to take what is rightfully mine, and I need consideration to help others get what they want. So this is a win-win mentality. Whether you're a student, whether you're a lecturer, a HOD, a professor, you are a CEO or COO, whatever it is. If we have the mentality of winning and letting others win through our productivity and their productivity, enhancing this fourth habit is a real key to interpersonal relationships. Now we go to the next one. Okay. Which is habit 5. Here we talk about seek to understand rather than be understood. Just think about it. What does it mean? Can you put it on chat? Seek to understand rather than be understood. I care. Is it, Bhavisha? I just put that an example. Empathize. Very good. Seek to understand rather than be understood. So empathize. What is sympathy and empathy? What is sympathy? What is sympathy? Okay, Sean. Okay, seeking concern. Okay. Anything else as far as to have a feeling of pity? Nail on the head. To have a feeling of pity, right? Suppose, I feel a yo power, but what is empathy then? Putting myself in that particular person's shoes and thinking from their angle, from their point of view, only is empathy. Literally walking their walk and seeing how they feel. Okay. For example, if I was the eye doctor, okay, I checked the person's eye. I checked the patient's eye and I said, okay, your sight is like this and things. And I went and took my glasses. I took my glasses and gave it to them and said, hey, this is very good, You wear my glasses. Will that person be able to see properly? Just put in the chat, yes or no. Will that person be able to see properly? No, yes. No, absolutely. This is what it means. Looking at that person and hearing their story and saying, you know what, you should have done this, you should have done that. See what I did. projecting ourselves in that particular situation is not going to help. How do we get through to this? Okay, so seeking to understand is putting yourself in that particular person's position and understanding their point of view, not sitting in judgment or not trying to, do away with their ideas or their perspective, but trying to understand. I think this is the key to interpersonal relationships. Because we often look at others' opinions from our own point of view. We look at people's lives from our point of view. So how do we understand this? How do we empathize? How do we feel for the other person? How do we forgive them? How do we interact with them? How do we smile at them? How do we, one thing as a facilitator or trainer that I've really understood is to look beyond the mask. Nowadays, all of us are wearing masks. Half our faces are not seen. But what about the unseen mask that we wear? You've had a bad day, your heart is hurting, but you put on a face and you come then. To college, one mask. At home, we wear another mask. At workplace, we wear another mask. But if we look into the inner heart, yes, Brinda, look beyond what the face is saying and look at what the person, you need a sensitivity for this. You need to be sensitive to one look, one smile. If that person is in your class and always smiling, and for one morning she comes and sits down alone or looks dejected, if you can go there at that moment and talk to them or just sit with them in silence, even if you don't open your mouth, but just sit there and try to understand. It makes such a big difference in their life. So how are we at this? Do we really understand people? Or are we so self-absorbed that we don't see other people and what they're going through? The COVID happened. How many of us reached out? How many of us helped with one hospital bed or, just tried to connect to somebody? How many of us really did something that we are, helped at? So it's a question that we have to ask ourselves. How empathetic are we? Do we reach out? Do we encourage people? One word can make a difference. One smile can make a difference. Next slide, please. Let's watch a video now.
Perspective taking is a valuable skill in many aspects of life. When we talk about perspective taking, we're referring to the process through which one is able to see a situation from the viewpoint of another, understanding their feelings, intentions, thoughts, or view of a particular situation. It doesn't mean we have to agree with their point of view. However, there is understanding and empathy. One of the things that is clear is that we all have our own perspective or way of seeing the world. For example, consider this image. What do you see? Please write down what you see in this image. Did some of you see a rabbit? Did some of you see a duck? Why do you think that is? This exercise demonstrates that even when presented with the same scenario, or in this case, image, we may see things differently. From one person's perspective, it may be a rabbit, and for another, a duck. Some may see something entirely different. It all depends on your perspective. Many aspects of life influence our perspective, such as our experiences, values, personality traits, information available, personal biases, and more. One's viewpoint can also change depending on your physical position or in the role you play. For example, not everyone on a football field has the same view. Your perspective can vary drastically depending on your place on the field and position, such as quarterback, O-lineman, or free safety. Sometimes, to understand others and to see from others' perspectives, we must reposition ourselves, both physically and mentally. When we acknowledge that there are many ways to see the world, we quickly see why perspective taking is valuable as we work to do things like improve race relations and advocate for social justice causes. Here are a few things to keep in mind. Perspective taking allows you to consider the experiences and viewpoints of others. By doing so, you improve your ability to understand, empathize, connect, and communicate. Finally, when you practice perspective taking, you can be a more effective advocate for others and the issues you care about the most.
I think that was very, very practically explained about others' perspective. I'd like you to see another small clip. Abhinay, I've just sent it to you. It's called Reebok. Can you hear me, Abhinay?
Yes, ma'am.
I just sent it to you. We could just play that.
The second video, ma'am.
Reebok, yeah, the second video that I just sent.
Yes, ma'am.
I was really shocked and I think very angry as to who did this to her.
शायद उसके घर वाले हो, शायद हस्बैंड हो, क्योंकि हस्बैंड तो वैसे भी तो छोटी-छोटी बात के ऊपर गुस्सा करते हैं। उससे तो वो देखा ही नहीं जा रहा था। ऐसे मेरी बेटी जैसे लग रही थी, मतलब जैसे किसी ने उसे बहुत बुरी तरह से मारा।
Physically abused, probably by few eve teasers.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe a very horrid accident.
बहुत ही गहरा घाव फेस पर, उनके हाथों पर।
A self hurt, because people do that too.
When you see something like this, the only thing that comes to your mind is कि आजकल your country this has become होता है.
At the bottom of it, her freedom was violated. From the bottom of my heart, I felt really bad for her.
My bruises can be good, They show my strength and not my weakness. They are proof of my strength to defeat any opponent. I am fit to fight.
अचानक से चुप करके की कहा तो एक बार के लिए मैं भी डर गया. She's not a victim of domestic abuse. She's a martial artist. That's how our mind has become, that we start thinking towards the negative. That's how the situations are in the country.
She is an inspiration for girls like me. If I can do that for myself, then yeah, I'm independent and free.
इसको तो मैं heads up करूँ.
Just to show how different our perspectives can be, just a small example. Okay, so next slide, please. Yes, so, to be empathetic, yes, this one. To be empathetic, to try to understand, one of the skills that we all need is listening. As students, first itself, I understood that she was a fighter. Very good, Meena Priya. Awesome. But many didn't, right? Anyway, so, one of the skills needed is listening. Most problems can happen because we don't listen. One of the complaints, between a husband and a wife, you never listen. So if we put away everything and focused on that person, even our children, I'm a grandmother, and very often what I do is, my granddaughter's there and she's playing and my mind is somewhere else. Instead of using that time exclusively just to listen to her and hear her creative ideas, and I wish I did that more, but listening is the key for empathy. If you want to really understand people, listen to them, switch off your phones and don't ignore them. Don't pretend to listen. Don't have selective amnesia. Don't, just listen to parts and pieces. Active, reflective listening, empathetic listening, listening with your mind and your emotion is very important. So then we can use our rationale and logic behind everything. Just not our emotions, but the logic as well is very, very important. So next time somebody is speaking to you, give them their full attention, your full attention, and see how our relationships improve. Listen to the words that they speak. Listen to the emotion behind the words that they're not speaking. This is a key to empathy. Yeah, next, please. Yeah, truly listen, smile, let your body language be in such a way that they can see it. Encouragement. Some of us are naturally very good at encouraging people. It comes naturally to us, but some of us have to learn to encourage. Many of us don't see people's, when you see them performing well, how many of us really go and say, hey, you've done a good job, especially if it is our peers? We feel intimidated. Words of encouragement can make a difference. All of us have those words at our disposal, saying, I'm there for you. You can share this with me. I will keep it confidential. If you need any support, I'm there. You're awesome in your work. You do these things so well. And especially, when I train students in face-to-face, we have an activity for this, just encouraging people. How are you? Me, ma'am. Wonderful. Yes. Ilakya, wonderful. Solutions. Give solutions. And the next one is, next slide. Another thing I feel is very, very important for relationships is, thank you, Sai, very, very important is unforgiveness and bitterness. Somebody has done something to us. And what we do is we put them in a box, in a penalty box. And they are not prisoners. We are prisoners. Every time we relive the moment, every time, oh, that person did this to me, you relive it. And if there is poison in a container, the poison actually damages the container. So bitterness or unforgiveness is like a poison. I've experienced that. And the minute I let go, I am free. Till we hold on to the person, we are prisoners. So I urge you today, in humility, that if any of us are holding on to grievances, something that people did to us, let us become free. Let us let go. Just enjoy the moment. And believe me, there is tremendous freedom in that. And two other magic words that I have used in all my classes, face-to-face classes, are sorry and thank you. I had a class on last Wednesday in Chennai, Madras School of Social Work. And yes, Brinda says, forget the bitter incidents, but don't forget the experience from the incidents is best, right? It is true, Brinda, but every time, we can learn and let go, learn and let go. If we are holding on to the memories, it's like a wound. The wound is healing, but every time you go back to it, you're pulling the scabs. Again, it becomes raw. So if you can forget and forgive, nothing like it. Because memories can be hurtful. Yeah. Yes, Ilakya. Sorry and thank you. These are magic words. Yes, thank you is the word I use more often. Beautiful. Yes. Thank you is so, so good. And especially with parents, we take it for granted. How many times do we tell our parents, maybe not in words, thank you, but in action? Can we show in action that we do really love and appreciate our parents? If you can do this, fantastic. Another way I'd just like to talk about this, there are 5 love languages, because it's ultimately about being recognized and being loved in this world. Whether you are COO of a company or you are a construction worker, all of us need love. All of us. Okay, so if there are 5 ways that people respond, give and receive love. So the 5 love languages are, first one is affirmation, words of affirmation. Some people feel loved when they hear, hey, you're good. You did this very well. Your chapatis are fantastic. You're an awesome person. So when you say these things to certain people, they feel loved. Words. For some people, it's acts of service. Yeah, you sorry, Bhavich. Yes, Jayanti. So for yes, Brinda, we need to say thank you. For some people, it is acts of service. If you make coffee for them when they're very tired, or if you just press their head when their head is aching, they feel loved. Acts of service. For some, it is gifts. If you give them gifts, they feel loved. For some, it is quality time. You may give them 100 gifts, but if you don't spend time with them, they don't feel loved. And the last is touch, physical touch. For some of us, we feel loved when we touch, when somebody hugs us, when somebody pats us on the back, somebody pinches our cheeks, we feel loved. So if you want to understand people, understand what kind of language do they feel loved? For me, example, it's words of affirmation and quality time. I feel loved when people do this to me. So if you're a husband and wife, if the husband knows what kind of love the wife responds to, and vice versa, if the wife knows what husband likes and gives him that, then your empathetic relationship will grow. Your relationships will grow, and you will strive to understand people rather than to be understood. Oh, they don't understand me. This is a question that this is one sentence we always hear. They don't understand me. He doesn't understand. She doesn't. Try understanding others. Really helps. So that is habit 5 for us. Let's go into habit 6. What is synergy? Can anyone say what is synergy quickly? Any idea? Okay, synergy is every that is in sync. Cooperation, yes, no doubt. Energy, interaction. Well done. So synergy is like being in sync. If there is a team, some team members have their strengths and others have weaknesses. All have strengths and weaknesses. So when we balance this, one person's strength balances another person's weakness, and vice versa. One is good at this, one may be really good at creativity, and the other is in problem solving, right? So that problem solving person may not be very creative, but both skills are required in a team. So how do we balance this? In an institution like yours, then maybe, in the management, some are good at this, some are good at this. In the classroom level, there are various people who are skilled at different things. So how do we put this together and work as a productive single unit? That is synergy for you. Wherever it is, it can be in a family where husband, wife, children, how do they put their strength and weaknesses, their anger, their temper, their goodness, their, the flaws, all of it come together and they stand as a single unit. How is this possible? Okay, so the next slide. The definition of this is basically, just a minute before we go into this, the definition is the sum of all this, of the whole, is more important than the parts. The sum total of the whole is more important than the parts. Now, this beautiful lesson is learned from the flight of the geese. The geese are like birds that fly in a V formation. When there is a cold, from one cold place, yes, like a rainbow, where from a cold place, they go to a warm territory. So they fly in a V shape. Now see the video.
Lessons of the geese. In the fall, when you see geese heading south for the winter, flying in the V formation, pause a moment and appreciate the beauty of the flight. As each bird flaps its wings, it creates uplift for the bird behind it. By flying in a V formation, the whole flock adds at least 71% greater flying range than if each bird flew on its own. Similar to people who are part of a team, the geese reach their goal quicker and easier because they travel on the trust of one another and lift each other up along the way. When a goose falls out of formation, it feels the drag and resistance of trying to go through it alone. As it quickly repositions itself into the V, it once again has the advantage of the power of the flock. If we benefit from the lessons of the geese, we will stay in formation with those who are headed in the same way that we are going. And if for a time we fall out of the team, we'll return to the safety and power of the V. When the lead goose gets tired, he rotates back into the V, and another goose takes over. It pays to share leadership and take turns doing hard jobs. The geese honk from behind to encourage those up front to keep their speed. Words of support and inspiration help energize those on the front line, helping them to keep pace in spite of the day-to-day pressures and fatigue. It is important that our honking be encouraging. Otherwise, it's just, well, honking. Finally, when a goose gets sick or wounded and falls out, the two geese fall out of the formation and follow the injured one down to help and protect him. They stay with him until he is either able to fly or passes on. Then they launch out with another formation to catch up with their group. And just as the geese do, we will stand by each other when things get rough. We will stay in formation with those headed where we want to go. The next time you see a formation of geese, remember their message. The geese depend on teamwork for their life's journey. And as people, one of the most rewarding and fulfilling experiences in life is to be a contributing member of a team.
Okay, this is a beautiful lesson from the geese. When one geese thinks, oh, I have it all, I can manage on my own, it goes and finds it doesn't have the support of the flight, the wind behind, and it comes back to formation. 2, if one geese gets sick, 2 leave the formation, go till it gets well or dies, and then join the formation. The leader geese, if it gets tired, sorry, is this to me? If the leader geese gets tired, then one from the formation goes and takes leadership. And as they travel from the cold to the warm, they keep honking or making a noise to encourage each other. So if the geese know this, why can't we as human beings work in sync with each other and see the results that are going to be really, really fruitful? We go to the last habit. Yeah, last habit, please. Next slide. Okay, just a few minutes and we'll be done. Sharpen the saw. Can anyone put in chat, what is sharpening the saw? Sharpening the saw. Anyone? Strengthening, okay, Bhavisha. Molding the people right. Okay. Enhancing, strengthening, sharpening our mindset, Soundarya, yes. Right, we will watch a video quickly and before we go into the explanation part. Focusing, alerting. Just watch this and you'll get an idea and I will explain what it is.
That there is a giant tree in your garden and also one in the garden of your neighbor. You both decide to get rid of your trees because they got too tall and they start to block the sunlight. And also there is too much work with all the leaves falling down in fall. You both decide to saw down your tree on Sunday, but you secretly decide to begin early in the morning because then you will be done by the time your neighbor is getting up. And also you want to feel a little superior. You imagine yourself relaxing in the sun and watching your neighbor sawing down his tree. On Sunday, you get up early and get your old saw out of the basement and start at 9 a.m. After 3 hours of sawing, you got 1/3 of the work done. And your neighbor gets out and says, "Oh, why did you start so early?" And you reply, "You know, I woke up early and I'm a productive person." So then your neighbor gets his saw and sits down to sharpen the saw. Then he starts sawing, and within an hour, his tree is sawed and falls. And then he sits down and sharpens his saw again for the next time and gets a cold drink after the hard work. After his drink, he walks over to you while you are still sawing. He asks, "Why don't you take a few minutes to sharpen your saw? Then you will be much faster." And your best reply is, "Sorry, I can't do this because I'm too busy sawing down the tree. And I think that my tree is much thicker than yours. Otherwise, I would also be done already." I really like this little story. It shows what we all do in some areas. We don't take the time to regenerate ourselves. And in this case, regenerate the saw, so to speak. When it comes to things, it seems pretty normal that we need some extra time for their maintenance. We never run out of gas because we are too busy refilling the tank. But we often forget to sharpen our saw and regenerate when it comes to our mind and our body. There are 4 areas we have to maintain regularly: our physical self, our mental self, our spiritual self, and our social emotional self. Great tools I use for regeneration and sharpening the saw are stretching and working out for my body. I read, learn, and meditate constantly for regenerating my mind. I visualize my goals and roles in life at least once a month for my spiritual self, and meet and laugh with friends and family in person, not via Facebook or Twitter, for my social emotional self. Far too many people are too busy with everything else and have so many excuses to not regenerate, like the guy who's still sawing down his tree. So make use of the last habit, habit 7, and sharpen your saw. Did you know that there is an 8th habit that is called Find Your Voice? And did you know that the 7 habits of highly effective people are based on 4 underlying principles? If you want to find out more, make sure to click on the video to make sure you fully understand these.
Okay, so we'll go to the slide, please. Yeah, what happens is even a phone, smart work, yes, even a phone needs to be charged, right? At intervals, because it loses its charge, you cannot use it. How much more for human beings such as us to be recharged, to be rejuvenated, so that we will not be burnt out and we will have nothing to give to the world and to ourselves. So what are the areas that we keep rejuvenating? Physical, I already mentioned it in the self-awareness. How do we rejuvenate? How do we take rest? How do we go for a holiday? You know, just detoxing. Mental, what are the updation, the skills, the new languages, new places you can visit? What is it that keeps you mentally agile? The 7 multiple intelligence. Can I enhance? Can I learn one more skill? Can I keep my mind alert? Even in old age, they say, you know, keep your mind alert. So the aging process is not so fast. If we keep our mind slow and lazy, you know, we age that much faster. We're not able to use our mental faculties as much as we would like to do. So keep rejuvenating the mind, update skills, spiritual, spend time every day to rejuvenate yourself spiritually so that you will be grounded and rooted, nothing, and you can stay calm in the face of challenges. And social, how do you renew relationships? How do you spend time for relationships? Do you make the extra effort? Do you go the extra mile? How are we doing this on a regular basis with our families, friends, co-workers, in society, in the community? How do we sharpen the saw? As you saw in the video, one person was too busy just sawing, and he went the whole day doing it, while the other person took time to rejuvenate, to sharpen his saw, and then it became sharp enough to cut the trees. And he uses less time in work and is balancing his life beautifully. Next slide, please. So physical health, balanced diet, how would you do it? Adequate rest, nutrition, regular physical activity. Next slide. As I told you, mentally, experience, ability, training, competence, learning, knowledge, advanced training. What is it that you will do to keep yourself abreast mentally? Learn. Okay, next. Spiritually, as I mentioned earlier. And, you know, it's always so beautiful to leave a legacy. I am secure. When we know ourselves fully, when we understand ourselves, it's easy to understand others better. If we cannot understand, you know, I always think of this example of a cup. You can pour out, you cannot pour out of an empty cup. You can pour only what is in the cup. Is it tea or coffee? What is in your cup? What is in my cup? If I squeeze an orange, only orange juice comes. When challenges come and we are squeezed, are we able to understand ourselves, forgive ourselves, love ourselves, respect ourselves? When squeezed, are we able to understand, motivate, love, lead, forgive, and give back? Depending on this will be your legacy. What you leave behind, you and I. What will we be remembered for will be the 7 habits that we practice again and again and again. No matter what life throws at us, what are the challenges that come our way, are we able to understand this secret, knowing ourselves, loving and understanding ourselves, knowing others, understanding, loving them. So with that, I come to the end, wishing that each of us makes a meaningful contribution, effective contribution to those around us, to society, and wherever we are, we can make that difference. With that, thank you so much for this opportunity. And if there are any questions, we can go ahead. Thank you so much. Yeah, alerting perfection. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. And it was such a joy, you know, speaking. Only thing, you know, I always wonder, I can never see the faces, not even one face. I was talking actually to myself because I can't see anyone's face, but, you know, that's the thing about online training. There's Abhinaya. Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, each one. Thank you. Thank you.
Ma'am.
Yes.
So now I would like to call just a minute, Lakshmi from first year MHRM to give vote of thanks. Lakshmi.
Yes.
You can proceed.
Okay. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Thank you for spending a valuable part of your time with us, ma'am. It was very informative, and we look forward to follow whatever you taught us today. I deem it is a great honor and privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. On behalf of the team, firstly, I thank the Almighty for making this successful. Secondly, I extend my sincere thanks to Priscilla Joseph Ma'am for enlightening us on the topic of 7 habits of highly effective people. And I once again thank you for making us aware about the self realization, self love, and how to be proactive and to avoid procrastination and how to be one true being on self and all much about these topics. And you also give about health tips and other tips too, life lessons. And I also convey my heartfelt thanks to our coordinators, Mahisha ma'am, Nagamala ma'am, and Sridevi ma'am for providing us a wonderful opportunity to attend this webinar. Hope this event was informative and relishing as promised. I once again thank all of you for joining with us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ma'am,
Thank
your
you, ma'am.
name, I'm sorry if I messed the name because I should have called you Dr. Mahisha and left it. You know, I kind of combined the
That's
two.
okay, ma'am.
I'm so sorry about that. And ma'am, Nagamalar, thank you, doctor, for, inviting me. And I really hope it's useful to the girls. And,
Yes, ma'am, definitely.
that's my desire. And Abhinaya, thank you for being such a perfect host, a co-host and sharing it so well. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for being with us this evening, ma'am.
My privilege, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Shall we end the session, ma'am?
Yes, please. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Abhinaya. God bless. Bye-bye.
Participants can fill the feedback form to receive your certificates. Link has been already posted in the comment box. Please check.
Okay. Okay, Ramana. Sai vechukko Ramana. Vechire enga vechukkoran sollu. Bye.
Link has been shared so many times in the comment section. Please check it.
Ma'am, we're not able to open the form, ma'am. It is asking for permission.
Okay, you can send a request for getting permission.
Okay, ma'am.
Participants, if you're not able to open the link, you can send permission to open the link and we'll accept that. Okay, participants, please have the link. We will activate it after some time after the session. Okay. We are ending the session now. Thank you.